Welcome back to the Titan Talk podcast. We are back on episode 21 now. We are just 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. It is getting close. This episode, we're going to do kind of a different episode. We're going to talk about some of the what are your expectations for the 2026 Titans season, and what do you hope to get out of this season. And earlier this week, Robert Saleh had a press conference at the NFL's annual coaches meeting, and we're going to get into his comments that he said towards the draft. So there was a couple interesting things that he said there, but we're gonna get into that, and we are also gonna do, like I said earlier, just some random fun little segments. So we're gonna get things started right now. Now, getting things back into it, before we get into our first segment where we're going to be talking about the what-if scenarios and what we think is the biggest what-if for the Titans in all of Titans history, we want to let you know to follow all of our socials. We are on Instagram, we're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on pretty much everything around the world. You just search up Titan Talk, you should be able to find us. Be sure you follow, and to be caught up to date for all Titans news, all updates regarding the podcast and the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that. But regarding that, we're going to get started with our what-if scenarios. So, Luke, do you want to get things started about what's your biggest what-if scenario?
So my what-if scenario is, what if the Titans did not fire Mike Mularkey after their first playoff win season since 2008? That's my what if. 2017, the first time the Tennessee Titans won a playoff game since the year well, we didn't win a playoff game in 2008. We were the number one seed, and then we got bounced by the Ravens in the first round. So it was before that one, but our last playoff appearance since 2008. That's my what if scenario. Where would the Titans be different? Would Mike Mularkey still have his hard nosed physical football culture? You know, he had the greatest assistant coaching hires in Titans history, unquestionably. Of course, with Dick LeBeau as the notable defensive coordinator, the greatest defensive coordinator probably in the history of the game outside of maybe Bill Belichick. But that's my what if scenario. You know, we'll see. Would Derrick Henry have developed into that kind of guy that he turned out to be in those later years? Because remember, Derrick Henry was a fringe bust candidate there under Mike Mularkey. Who would the Titans have went and got Tannehill? Would we have went in a different way? Would Mariota have still been the Titans quarterback? Because we see Mariota can still play football today. That's my biggest what if scenario.
Yeah, whenever you brought
Yes.
up, what's that?
So, what's your guys' opinions on that?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, whenever you was bringing it up, when you said, what do you think the Titans would be if they didn't fire Mike? And I thought for sure he's gonna say Vrabel there, and I thought, well, that's a lot of different ways that could go, but
Well, I
yeah,
think we know where the Titans would be had they not have fired Mike Vrabel. They would be a worse version of what the New England Patriots are today. There's no question that our window was closing when we fired Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was losing games. Let's not act like Mike Vrabel was this hero that we chopped. He was the Ned Stark for the Game of Thrones fans out here, that we chopped his head off and let him die alone. Like, that's not at all what was happening. Mike Vrabel, he was not performing the way that he had been. That's the bottom line of that situation. So that's what I think. It's a lot more interesting to see what would have happened had Mike Vrabel have never been here and Mike Mularkey would have been the tenured coach for the Titans.
yeah, I think
That's a good point.
I think that's fair. I mean, regarding the Malarkey stuff, honestly, I think if the Titans kept him, because I know it was a hot topic when we fired him and brought in Vrabel. I know, in my opinion, I think the Titans would probably be in a better spot today. Because if you look at how they was going, they was trending up, and Vrabel took pretty much initiative of that team as it was already going on the rise up. And you see, I think Mariota was developing better under Malarkey than Vrabel. I think if we kept Malarkey, I think Mariota probably would have worked out, and I think he could probably still be the quarterback for the Titans today. But that's something we don't know.
Well,
And yeah,
I'm going to touch on that because I agree with you. I think Mularkey was better at developing people. I wonder how Mularkey could develop Ward and Levis, because here's the thing: Mike Vrabel is obviously a very tough coach with high expectations. and Marcus Mariota was really underperforming. And Mike Vrabel obviously had public discrepancies about Mariota's play, and he was pretty quick to bench him just 2-4 into the season after a pretty bad game in Denver. But I definitely think that's a great question that you can ask yourself. And I think another great question to ask yourself is would the Tigers, not necessarily a question, but here's the point I'm going to make. When you look at Mike Vrabel's first year, his first off season before his first season began, before that Miami game, it is almost the exact same as what we've seen this year with Robert Saleh. I mean, down to the uniform changes and everything, it's honestly kind of crazy how similar those two are. And I think that was the biggest benefit of Mike Vrabel. Mike Mularkey, he had a professional football team. Mike Vrabel had his professional football team. He had a culture that he built. And we talk about this so much, the culture, but I think that right now you're seeing Robert Saleh with the new uniforms, with the new mechanics, with the new way practices are going to be laid out, as he explained. That's where you see where Robert Saleh is starting to develop a culture, which I don't think Mike Mularkey ever had. Vrabel did, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a fair argument point because Malarkey is more of the guy who he's a player's coach, right? He kind of helps each individual player get better to bring out the better versions of themselves. But Vrabel, he's a team's coach. He wants the best out of a team collectively and not individual. He wants to push the team forward. Well, I don't think either or, I mean, is a pretty much a good category for a coach. It just depends on what you're, like you said, what type of culture you're wanting to bring in for this team. And I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think Robert Saleh is another version of a Mike Vrabel. He's wanting the team to get better and not individual players. But again, I think things probably could have worked out with Malarkey. Like you mentioned, Derrick Henry. He kind of was going downhill, but I think he probably would have eventually picked things up, especially after I think he had a meeting with Eddie George, I believe, before that Jacksonville game that really helped him. But yeah, I think he still would have probably been fine.
Yeah, so Derrick Henry, I think it was before the Ravens game, Nate, that was in London because Eddie George made the trip to London with the Titans. They ended up losing that game, but I think that's the game that he attributed that sort of Eddie George turned his career down and told him that, play like your career's on the line because it is. Um, but of course, that's the thing that you can also mention. And I'll tell you what, I talked about Mike Mularkey and his assistant coach hires. As far as Robert Sala goes, I don't know about defense. We'll see about all that, how the defense plays out. You would think that he'll have the defense will be okay under Robert Sala because defense is what he preaches. But I'm extremely excited to see Brian Daboll's offense with Cam
Mm-hmm.
Ward, especially. As long as he doesn't do what he did with Jackson Dart, rushing the ball 300 times, getting himself killed. As long as he doesn't do that, I think that the Titans and Cam Ward can really flourish under Brian Daboll. And I think that's one of the least talked about things this offseason.
I'm just really hoping that we don't kind of. I'm hoping we don't lose Dayball after this season. I know, depending on how the other coaches do around the league, I mean it's inevitable at this point for a coach not to get fired during the offseason because at least one's going to get fired most likely. I mean, looking
Oh,
at
at least five are going to get fired.
yeah, I mean if you look
Yeah.
at it now, Browns, Cardinals, maybe Raiders, I can see all three of them guys getting fired after year one if things don't go their way because those are
Well,
teams if
even
you
the way things are going right now, teams who have good coaches, Jim Harbaugh, if the Chargers don't make the playoffs, his job could be in question. That's one not a lot of people talk about. There's so many guys
mm-hmm.
who are on good teams that who know. Andy Reid, if
Andy
the
Reid,
Chiefs
yep.
lose back to back season. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Sean Payton for the Broncos, I think he's pretty safe, but there's a lot of guys. At least five people are going to get fired.
Zach Taylor, I mean that I thought that was a for sure guy that was going to get fired this offseason. Somehow he still has a job in Cincinnati, but I don't know how that happened. But yeah, that's what I think about the Malarkey stuff. What do you think, Boston?
Yeah, I I genuinely think that sometimes it's a good idea to get a fresh set of people in your organization. I genuinely don't think that the Malarkey fire was honestly that bad of a decision. I think that honestly people needed um Sorry, I just had a complete brain fart moment. Sorry, we can cut that out. What? Why am I forgetting what I was gonna say? What in the world? I'm so tired, y'all. Sorry.
You're good.
Um, y'all are talking about all the other coaches. What was the previous Titans head coach? Literally, I don't know why I know this like
Oh, Brian
off the
Vrabel.
Callahan.
Vrabel. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like literally, I know that completely. I was just like brain fart moment. Holy crap! All right, let me restart. Yeah, so what I think about that is that I really think it's nice for sometimes in an organization for you to get some new fresh people in the organization. I don't think that the Malarkey hire or fire was that bad of a decision because with a new coach, a fresh set of eyes that can read the field differently, build a different culture, and I think actually with the Vrabel hire, it was good in some ways to also show some of the weak spots in the organization, especially with some of the front office decisions, that have happened. And, many things, the A.J. Brown trade, a lot of different really bad off seasons with free agencies. Um, and I genuinely think sometimes that for you to grow in the long term, sometimes even if you have to get you know, you have to fire a guy and get someone new in there, even if it always isn't the best in the beginning. I genuinely think the Titans have a really, really good future set for them right now if they keep making great decisions like they are. And because they also saw the things with Vrabel that didn't go the best, right? And they're now able to capitalize and say, hey, we didn't do this correct, guys, but we're actually going to make the right. They've had a pretty decent free agency in the offseason right now. All of their coaching staff has been really good. It's the bald squad. I mean, how can you get mad at that? But I genuinely think that because sometimes you just need a fresh new set of people in your front office and coaching staff that it'll genuinely help down the road. Just because, like you said, Luke, if Malarkey, if he really wasn't building a culture, in my opinion, like that's not really the mark of a good coach. And I'm an IU fan, right? You got to look at some other coaches in history of what they did to build amazing programs. Look at Signetti at IU. He's been there 2 years. He won a national championship in his second year of coaching there. Why? Because he built a dang good culture. That's for sure. The people love him. The people respect him, and they want to win for him. And so I really I liked Vrabel. I mean, I think they actually should have kept him longer. He wasn't a perfect coach, but I liked that he was trying to have good expectations. Not all the players, Mariota, like some other players, didn't respect him that much just because of how high his expectations were. But I really hope with Sala, with all this what if stuff, I really hope that we can learn from our mistakes in the past and see those patterns of how they usually tend to trend with the Titans, and they can have a really good season and more really good seasons upcoming.
I agree. I think the toward of the end of yours kind of funny, Boston. That's the nicest way I've ever heard someone say your team historically sucks, and maybe with Solo will let them not suck.
Hey, yeah.
Hey,
I
It was a very
mean,
nice, more elegant way of saying that, though.
dude, I'm totally fine with like. I mean, I don't get like people telling dude, IU football. They were the second losingest team in college football history, and they just won a national championship. So I mean, technically, like, dude, teams can turn around. If you build a good team, you have great coaches, you have great front office that'll support your coaches. You know, you can literally turn a team around. I'm not saying the Titans are going to go win a Super Bowl, but they could. I mean, literally, if you look at the state of football today, there's a lot of room for growth.
honestly, like
I
you.
think the Titans. I think before we get to our next what if scenario, I think the Titans season this year just matters on can Cam Ward significantly improve his play.
That's
That's
true.
it. If Cam Ward can take the absolute next step and significantly improve his play, there really is a high ceiling.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Robert Sala, I think he is a really good football coach. Honestly, this kind of might be, kind of a hot take. I think Robert Sala could be a top 10 coach in the NFL this year, depending on how things go. I mean, if you look at it, like you mentioned earlier, the assistant coaches he's brought in, I think that
Hmm.
you're looking at a top 10 coaching staff in the NFL this season if things go the way that it looks like it's lining up. Because if you're looking if you look at the direction the Titans are going this season in particularly, the there's some really good players on this team, and not a lot of people think that way because we're the Titans. We're trash. That's pretty much been the whole character of this team for the past decade. I guess people just overlook the 2019 to 2020 run. They just think that the whole entire history has just been trash, but I think that that's about to change. I think under Robert Saleh we could see a new identity for the Titans and bring us to brighter days in football ahead. But next we're going to get into our next what if scenario. My what if scenario is what if the Titans never traded AJ Brown?
Oh, that was
I
my same one.
think I think that's a defining moment in this team's history, right? That's pretty much the lowest point this fan base has been. Well, not really going off of Marcus Mariota throwing a touchdown pass to Traylon Burks, one hand catching it with Donald Trump on commentary. I think that was pretty low for Titans fans. But if you're overlooking that, I think for sure it was the A.J. Brown trade. Honestly, in my opinion, I think if we never traded A.J. Brown, I think this team probably would have won a Super Bowl, possibly multiple. I think he was a rookie, or not a rookie, he was on his rookie deal. And if Tannehill was still playing good football in the year he left, because, we picked up Robert Woods and a couple other guys, and that's what we struggled in. We struggled in the wide receiver part of the team. If we had A.J. Brown, who was just starting to break out, and Derrick Henry still being a monster on the football field, defense looking good. But, so looking at the year that we missed out on A.J. Brown, it was the year the Titans had the big downfall, right? We had Traylon Burks, his rookie season. Everything after that Green Bay Packers game, this team went to shreds. We lost, 7 games straight? I was 7 or 8 games straight. We was 7-2 on the year. We was a top 3 seed in the AFC. Ever since then, things fell apart. We really struggled in the receiving part of the season that year. You could argue quarterback too, because Tannehill went down. We had to bring in Josh Dobbs. And that was a whole scenario. But I think if A.J. Brown was there, then I think that season probably would have stayed afloat, like how it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the season that Tannehill went down, right?
Dobbs came in, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're going anywhere. So your claim that if we hadn't traded AJ Brown, we would have won at least one, if not multiple Super Bowls. I think that's preposterous. I do agree with you. We would have been better. There is no doubt. We would have been significantly better. But Josh Dobbs isn't taking you to the Super Bowl. I think we saw that in those later years, Ryan Tannehill wasn't going to take you to the Super Bowl. So I think it was the worst trade in Titans history, one of the worst trades in NFL history, because AJ Brown did go win a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. I don't think we would have been that much better off. We would have been better off, but I don't think it would be that much. I don't think it would have been a Super Bowl manipulative, Super Bowl exchangeable trade right there. That's just my opinion, though. I think AJ Brown's good. I think he's able to win Super Bowls, but I think he also has to have a great supporting cast around him. And while the trade obviously still does not look good, I will say the trade looks better now because you see AJ Brown, how much of a diva he is. So the trade does look better now than it did look a long time ago. And when I say it looks better, I mean it's not the worst trade in NFL history.
Yeah, well, there's one thing I want to add on before we get into Boston's opinion here. The one thing I want to touch on is I think, we're talking about the A.J. Brown part of this trade, right? I want to just touch on the other part of that trade. Traylon Burks, right? We traded up to draft him. We traded away our first-round pick to move up and take Traylon Burks. So obviously you see where he is now, catching one-handed passes from Marcus Mariota to win games, but that's a rare occurrence. I think that was his first ever touchdown in his career, I think, in that game with the Commanders. But I think
he had one against Green Bay. Remember the legacy Traylon Burks Green Bay game he had?
Oh yeah, and then he got injured right after, didn't he?
Yeah.
typical Burks fashion there. But I think if we did not draft him in that 2021 or 2022 draft, we still would have had A.J. Brown for at least one more season, and then we also would have had a first-round pick with other guys available like Jordan Davis, who the Eagles selected with that pick, Kyle Hamilton, Jahan Dotson, there's Trent McDuffie, Quay Walker, Tyler Smith, a really good lineman, Tyler Linderbaum, a good center that we just seen that got signed. Funny enough, another guy, Jermaine Johnson, who's currently a Tennessee Titan, Devin Lloyd, Cole Strange, George Karlaftis. I mean, there plenty of guys that was available there, and especially in the second round too. There was a lot of good people in that second round there, like Brees Hall was in that draft, and he was taken in the second round. Jalen Petrie from the Texans, Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker, Wandale Robinson was in the second round of that year. A lot of these guys I'm noticing are current Titans, so I shouldn't be harping on it this much, but we did get a lot of these guys are currently on the team. Jaquan Brisker, Alante Taylor. Goodness, do we have the entire 2022 draft? Hold on.
That's what? This is actually crazy. Yeah. This is a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was plenty of guys. Like, that's the point.
Good.
There's plenty of guys that we could have took instead. But I think that's going to go down as the worst trade in sports history, not just NFL history. I think that's the worst trade in sports
Nate,
history.
Come on now. Nate, you don't remember the Russell Wilson trade?
Oh, this was worse.
You don't remember the trade that the Cowboys had that like gave them their dynasty in the prehistoric era?
I can't recall that one.
So the Cowboys traded running back. They traded
Emmitt Smith.
I think it was Herschel Walker or somebody for basically Minnesota's soul, and that's how they built their dynasty. Russell Wilson, the trade that the Broncos made with Russell Wilson, it gave the Seattle Seahawks a Super Bowl and set the Broncos back, the largest dead cap in NFL history. The AJ Brown trade was a bad trade. The worst the Deshaun Watson trade, that one's significantly worse. I might be labeled as the John Robinson Glazer of this podcast, but it's not as bad as some of these other trades. Come on now.
John Robinson is the worst GM in NFL history, by the way. Just wanted to add that.
John Robinson's not the worst. Jerry Jones might be the worst general manager.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Yeah, but is there anything you want to add, Boston, about the A.J. Brown trade?
Golly, y'all have said so much. The only thing is that I think if you have one really good receiver, I mean, that's better than no good receivers. I don't really know. Y'all have already covered so much. It's just the fact that I actually really agree with Luke. I think we could be significantly better and win a good amount more games. I think we could have at least won a couple of divisional playoff games or made it, to another AFC, title game, and whether that could have led us to a Super Bowl, fate decided otherwise. But I think the A.J. Brown, I completely agree. I think it is one of the worst trades of Titans history. I mean, it's probably the worst of Titans history easily, but I would have loved to see him be on the Titans, man. I think even with, Dobbs, that was the backup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even with Dobbs, we could have done a lot better. I mean, dude, your receiving core, you still got to think these guys are in the NFL. They're not all trash. Even though if they aren't to the level of these, Super winning bowl teams, these guys are still the best of the best. And if you pair up, an okay quarterback with a pretty good receiver, the receiver can really help and make some magic happen, So I think we could have seen a lot more out of that team that year.
Unless it's I agree with you to some extent, Boston, but there is also some guys who just aren't good at football.
Will Levis.
One that comes to mind is Xavier Restrepo. There's just some guys like that who just aren't good at football. But for the most part, I see your point.
Yeah.
We're going to have a generational meetup, by the way, when Xavier Restrepo finally meets the OG LKC Luke Carter. Hopefully that happens in the future. Now, getting started into our mock draft, we're going to just do a quick overview of every team's first-round pick, who we think they're going to pick. First up here, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, they are pretty lost in all honesty, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're lost on what they're going to do with this first round pick. I think it's pretty much well known across the league what they're doing. I think wholeheartedly, without a doubt, they're taking Fernando Mendoza here. What do y'all think?
Yeah, they're taking Fernando. It's been said throughout the league that that's what their choice is going to be. And they also need a quarterback really bad, so they're going to take Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the Titans and Cam Ward last year. If you think about it, it's a foregone
Yeah.
conclusion. Up next, second overall pick, the New York Jets. This one's kind of interesting here because they can take a lot of these guys. You know, we got Arvil
Mhm.
Reese, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Love, Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, David Bailey, Carnell Tate. All those guys are available here. Um, honestly, I can I think they're gonna go Arvil Reese here with the second overall pick.
Yeah, I think they need anybody good to just join their team because the Jets suck. I mean, they're really not good at all, and I mean, an edge rusher. It doesn't say that's one of their, or it does at the very end, but like I mean, having a really awesome edge rusher never hurts to have. It only just puts another really good person on your squad.
He can play middle linebacker too.
Yeah, I don't think with Garrett Wilson on their team, I don't think they're going to go wide receiver. I think
Mm-mm.
it's definitely going to be an edge rusher, and I think it's going to be David Bailey or Reese, one of those two for sure.
So
Yeah.
go ahead and lock in Arvil Reese. Up next, this is a very interesting pick. The Arizona Cardinals at third overall. They could go anywhere. You're right. They need an offensive tackle, which that's been the popular pick, getting the tackle out of Miami, Francis Mayoga. Um, another position here they need is edge, and then it goes to quarterback, receiver, and then running back, and then safety. Honestly, I think I can see them going. I could see them going edge as well. I think they take up David Bailey here for the third overall pick.
I
That's an
think
interesting
that
pick.
they. Sorry, Boston, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just commenting on like what you go, Luke.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I don't think that they're going to go with edge. I think that the Cardinals have bigger needs than edge, especially at that tackle position. I think they're
Hmm.
either going to go with that tackle. If they're weighing their options, I think they have two options. Either they go and they take a swing on Jeremiah Love, or they go with the safe pick and they get the tackle. I don't think an edge is in their equation. I think they're going to go tackle.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll probably go with Francis Mulgoa. I don't know how to
Yeah,
say his name, but
that's fair. I see that happening too. I mean, either or of them too. The only thing about Myoga I'm thinking of, I think it might be a little bit of a reach, but I think what you see here is like the Titans a few years ago when we needed an offensive lineman, we reached for J.C. Latham, and I could totally see that there. So we're gonna pick Francis Myoga for the Cardinals, third overall. Up next, the big one, pick number 4. Tennessee Titans are on the clock now. I know you probably already know what I'm thinking here, Luke. Uh, Obviously, I think Jeremiah Love is the pick here. I think he will be the next Tennessee Titan on this team. And I know you probably think edge rusher. Is that still the case, Luke?
That is absolutely still the case, without a doubt. I do not want Jeremiah Love on this team. I think he is too big of a swing. I think his talent's been inflated too much. I don't think he's a day one guy. Yes, is he the best skill player, in my opinion, in the draft? Yes. I don't think we necessarily need him. I don't think the Titans are in a position that we need to go get the best guy available that can score points. I think we need to build our defense. I think we got to go edge. And you've sort of sold me, Nate, that Ruben Bain isn't the best edge that we can go with. So I would still say go with David Bailey. But if Ruben Bain, you're
That's fair.
yeah, I totally understand. I Man, I genuinely think if you went for Jeremiah Love, I mean, how could you not want him on your team? But if you also went for David Bailey and get an edge rusher, I feel like an either or situation is good here. I mean, my pick is I really think they will most likely pick an edge rusher with Luke, but what I hope they would pick Jeremiah Love just because, he's another Indiana guy. But I mean, I think he's a really talented, and I genuinely think he could be a day one starter for the running back position. I do think so. I think he has that caliber of a running back position player. So
All right, Boston, you're going to get the deciding factor. Do you think Titans go Jeremiah Love, or do you think they go Ruben Bain or David Bailey here?
man, screw it, Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. Up next, fifth overall, you got the New York Giants here. This is another one that could go plenty of different ways here. I don't think they'll go edge because they just took what's his name, Abdul Carter last year for their first overall pick. So honestly, I think they'll Carnell Tate and get another receiver to pair up with Malik Neighbors after losing Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. I think they'll try to snag it from Cleveland since they also need a receiver.
I do think that they could use a receiver. Is Carnell Tate the receiver that they can use? That's what I don't know about. I think that the Giants are probably going to want to go defense here, guys. I think they hired John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh loves a good defense. I think they're going to go defense. That's just my opinion. I think, you look at Jackson Dart's offense, unless they're going with a tackle, Jackson Dart's got a lot of weapons. The Giants need to develop their defense, and that's my opinion.
What'd you feel about Sonny Styles? I think that's not a crazy name to hear about taking fifth overall.
It's definitely a good possibility.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead. What's that?
I would have said it could go so many ways, just like.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Sonny Styles for the New York Giants. Up next, Cleveland Browns. I think this is where Carnell Tate goes. Honestly.
Yeah, that I could totally. I actually really think that's where it'll be taken as well.
Let's go ahead and.
This is where I do agree. I do think Carnell Tate's coming off the board right here, and I think he is going to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pick that up for the Browns. Up next, another interesting one. We have the Washington Commanders. I see them going edge here. I think they pick up the better of the two edge rushers. I think they take David Bailey.
Yeah, David Bailey's better than Bain.
I disagree once again, guys. I think that the Commanders, I think that if I was picking with them, I think they need a linebacker. I don't think they need an edge. There's a really good guy. Not linebacker, a corner. Because they need corners. Because their corners, they were dusty last year. That's the reason why they won so many games, because they couldn't guard anybody other. They're going to go corner. The best available one is the guy from LSU, I would probably say.
Oh, Mansour Delane.
Yeah, that's who I would say they're going to go with. I don't really know that they have a... Yeah, I guess they do have a needed edge, though. And if the Titans pass up on Bailey and they get the choice, yeah, I can see them going with Bailey.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pick up Bailey for the Commanders. This is a very interesting one. The New Orleans Saints at number 8. Apparently, from what I've been hearing, the Saints are in love with Ruben Bain. So I think if that's the case, they need an edge. I think they go Ruben Bain here.
Yeah.
See that.
And then up next, we got the Kansas City Chiefs with a top 10 pick. Who saw this coming this season? But
not me.
They need a receiver. I think they get a receiver here. Honestly, I think they take Mekhi Lemon over Jordan Tyson and take Mekhi Lemon with the 9th overall pick.
Yeah, I've heard more about Mekhi Lemon.
Mekhi Lemon is the deliverer available. I disagree. I do not think they're going to go receiver. I think the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, and that was always great for them. But you take a look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs had their dynasty because of how great their defense was. I think that the Chiefs go defense here, and we already have all the good edges off the board. So I think they're going to take the corner that we were just talking about from LSU.
Honestly, I think I've changed my mind on that. I think you've convinced me. Because, look at their corner room. They lost their 2 top corners this offseason. They lost Trent McDuffie and the other guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But, yeah, I forgot how big of a need that is for that team. So I see them taking Delane here.
I think that they probably want to take Mekhi Lemon, but I just don't think they're going to be left with the choice. I think they're going to have to go corner.
Yeah. Up next, the Cincinnati Bengals, number 10 overall. I think... It's crazy he fell this far. and I think they're just gonna take him off the board because he is a amazing player. I mean, outstanding. I think they take Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State here.
Yeah.
And then
I wouldn't be
The
surprised if
Bengals thing to do.
Downs goes farther in the draft, or like a lot sooner in the draft.
The Bengals thing to do would be take another offensive guy here, like Carnell Tate. I mean, we already have Carnell Tate off the board, so Makai Lemon.
no.
But I agree. If they want to win games, they have to go defense here. I think they're going to go with the safety. I think that's obviously the pick, especially from how far we haven't fallen.
Yeah, then up next, the Miami Dolphins, number 11. Here, I think this is going to be a receiver because they got like 3 active receivers on their roster and none of them are caliber of starting. So I think
No.
this is where Makai Lemon goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Makai Lemon or Tyson, either one of the two, but I would Makai Lemon just because I think he's better.
Mm-hmm.
Then up next, the Dallas Cowboys, pick number 12 here. This one could go plenty of ways. I see them taking Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee, cornerback here.
I don't know
That
about.
seems.
I don't know much
Do we
about
already have Sonny?
Dallas's needs.
Sorry, go ahead,
so...
Boston.
Oh, you're good. Sorry for the lag. I don't know much about Dallas's needs as a team. I am not really too sure about them. But I don't know if they would be taking a cornerback. I mean, I'm just trying to look at their needs and stuff. They need. I'm trying to see what that says. Is that
It's inside linebacker, then corner, and then safety, then edge.
okay?
Do we
if
already
it
have
is a
Sonny
corner.
Styles off the board or not?
Yeah, he went to the Giants, number 5.
Yeah, I guess drop McCoy by default.
Yeah, again, that's the only choice. I don't think they're going to take a tackle. Don't think they're going to take a receiver. Don't think they're going to take tight end. I think that's pretty much their only choice here.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So up next we got the Los Angeles Rams, pick number 13. I don't know what this thing's thinking. It's saying they need a receiver. I disagree with that. I think they have one of the best receiving rooms in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they go tackle here. I think they take Spencer Fanu from Utah here and booster that offensive line for Stafford.
If he's the best available, whoever the best available tackle is at this point, they're going. They don't have another choice but to go tackle. This is the first Rams first round pick I think I've ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, they have to go tackle undoubtedly, especially if Matthew Stafford's planning on staying there for a little bit.
Yeah. And then
They're a Super Bowl contender with a good offensive line.
oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
they're already a Super Bowl contender with a bad offensive line. They're a Super Bowl favorite with a good offensive line.
I think they'll be Super Bowl favorites for sure. Up next here, pick number 14, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Don't really like them that much. I think they need an offensive line. You've seen that in the later half of the season. Lamar kind of struggled in the backfield. He was getting hit a lot. And losing Tyler Linderbaum, that's not going to do them any favors on that offensive line. I think they take the next available best lineman. I think that's going to be Penn State offensive lineman. Not going to try to pronounce that name because I think I would really mispronounce that, but I think they take the guard out of Penn State here.
Yeah.
I agree.
They need a guard.
It's a good one.
And then
the one out of Georgia.
The Georgia. Oh, he's Monroe Freeling tackle. He's projected to go 19. Up next here we got Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 15 overall. Again, I could see a lineman going here. I could see a lineman or corner. I could see Avion Terrell from Clemson going, or I could see, like you just mentioned, the Georgia tackle here. What do y'all think?
I think that they might try and go defense to try and replace Levante David.
Yeah,
That's
I was
fair.
about to say.
Maybe
I
a
think they should
linebacker.
go. Yeah, linebacker. So they might go for Peter Woods. Is that defense? I can't even see
he's
these
a
things are so.
defensive tackle.
Okay, sorry. These little like things are so pixelated.
The thing about linebacker though, it's not a good linebacker until like around pick 30. So that's the only thing. Do you think they trade back here?
I don't think they trade back.
No.
I mean, we saw crazy things happen, but I think they. I do think they're going to go defense. You take a look at the Bucks. The Bucks got a good offense.
Yeah, they don't.
Maybe you're Jordan Tyson after they lost Mike Evans. Could be a possibility.
Ooh, yeah, they could go receiver. Honestly, yeah, I think they might. I think they go Tyson here. I mean, especially without a doubt the best player left. So yeah, I think they go Tyson.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have any other options to go for defense because you'd have to trade down for that. So
Yeah.
Tyson or Lemon. Lemon's. We have Lemon going first, but if Tyson goes first, which is a real possibility, if not a favorable possibility, then they would. I think they would have to get Lemon.
yeah, yeah.
And then up next we have the New York Jets once again, pick number 16 here. We had them taking Arvil Reese with the second pick here. I think they go tight end here and take the Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq here.
Yeah, seeing that he needs some receivers. I mean, tight end. Yeah, dude, Oregon has produced some really good players these past couple years. I think that would actually be a really smart move for them.
And
I
hey,
think that's what they'll probably do.
both teams are green, so
Yeah, he'll be used to it, I guess.
The rookie tight end they had last year wasn't horrible.
oh,
Forget
did
his
they draft
name.
one?
I think he was a rookie. Or whenever the Jets sucked, what little offense I watched had a pretty decent tight end. That
That's
was
cool.
mainly who they targeted.
Oh, I thought they
But
had a
yeah,
need.
I agree. They can definitely go tight end. I think the Jets are going to go offense. They need a weapon here. I don't think they're going to go tackle or anything like that. So yeah, I agree with you.
Do you think they
Yeah.
go Denzel Boston, receiver out of
No,
Washington?
I don't think they'll go that far down. I don't think that would make sense too when you have a tight end who's the best player still left on the board. That's
Okay,
just my opinion.
yeah, that's fair. Let's go ahead and pick up the tight end for the Jets. Here we got the Detroit Lions, pick 17. I think they go tackle here. I think they take the tackle from Georgia.
Yeah,
This is where
that's
I
a really
disagree.
fair.
And I've thought this for a long time. Caden Proctor. I think they're going to go tackle. I think they're reaching on Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor is a tackle you can use as a weapon. That sounds like just a Dan Campbell unbelievable fever dream, in my opinion. So I think that they're going to go Caden Proctor just because of how much he fits Dan Campbell's ideology and how much he would fit on the Detroit Lions.
Honestly, I agree. I didn't really see Proctor that far down, but yeah, I could see them going Proctor here.
Yeah, I
It'd
don't
be a
know.
reach, but
I thought Georgia's defense was a lot better just in their overall team. I don't know really too much about Caden Proctor because I'm not a huge SEC fan, but I just saw that Georgia was doing better throughout the season. So that's why I was just thinking Monroe.
Yeah,
But
that's
it,
fair.
yeah, we could go Proctor if that's what y'all are thinking because I'm not too specified in the SEC.
Yeah. And then up next, Minnesota Vikings pick 18 here. I think they go corner. I think they take top corner available and Avion Terrell from Clemson.
Hmm. Let's see if
corner
they
seems
need a.
reasonable.
Yeah, I mean they need one, so yeah.
Uh, then up next, Carolina Panthers. They need a defensive tackle. I think they go Peter Woods here, best player available.
Yeah. And from Clemson, not too far away from Carolina anyway, so.
Yeah. Then up next, the Dallas Cowboys once again. Did not know they had two first rounders, but looks like they do.
Hmm.
Says they still need a linebacker or a safety here. Again, top lineman CJ Allen from Georgia. He's not projected to go till around 30. I could see them going safety here. It says they need a safety. I could see them taking the safety from Oregon.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a really smart pick. Um, dude, is that Dylan Thieneman?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've actually heard a lot about him. Just on that Oregon team, just dude, he was actually a pretty good safety. I think that's what they would likely do. I mean, that's what I think they should probably do.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and pick that up for the Cowboys. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't need a receiver that much. I don't know why that's a need.
No.
I think. What could they do? They could go defensive tackle here. I could see them taking Caden McDonald from Ohio State.
Let's see. For Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause, I mean,
Let's
they
see,
just traded
Caden
for
Wait, that.
McDonald.
Pittman.
Yeah, since
I
they
mean,
did,
they gotta
they
have.
don't.
I think it all depends on if they want Aaron Rodgers to come back. If Aaron Rodgers is willing to come back or not. Because if Aaron Rodgers is willing to come back, they have to go offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's true. And especially for with a young quarterback, if they decided to rock with Will Howard, I could see that. Do you think they go Georgia tackle here?
I mean, golly, it's so hard because there's so many different places to go. But I would say, why wouldn't they go with the best player on the board if that still is a role they need to fill?
Yeah. Pick the tackle from Georgia. Up next, we got
Yeah.
the Los Angeles Chargers, pick 22. Um, I think they go tackle as well. They really needed an offensive line. That's not a secret. I think they go the best tackle in Caleb
Mhm.
Lomu from Utah.
Well, they have a good offensive line. It's just they're always hurt. Like no,
Yeah,
week week 2 of the season, their offensive line, they got 3 guys who were out for the season. So it's not like they have scrubs in their offensive line. It's just I don't know.
but I agree. I think they should go for that offensive tackle if their other guys are hurt.
Yeah, let's pick that up for the Chargers. Up next, we get the Philadelphia Eagles, pick 23 here. They just lost their edge rusher in Jalen Phillips, I believe. I think they go the edge from Auburn and take Keldrick Falk.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice as well.
And then,
Yeah, I can definitely see them going edge. I bet they wish they were in the top 5 because this is about the best edge draft that you're ever gonna see.
Oh yeah,
yeah, up next we got the Cleveland Browns once again. Who do we have them taking earlier? We got them taking Carnell Tate.
yeah.
I think they take a lineman here. I think they reach on this tackle from Arizona State because they really need a line.
You know, yeah. What I was gonna push back and I was gonna say, teams who usually take an offensive guy early in the first round tend to go defense if they have another first round pick, but the
Mhm.
Browns are an anomaly because they just have just such a good defense that they really don't have. They're not forced to take defensive players. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, offensive tackle. Yeah, they need a lineman.
Then up next, the Chicago Bears. I think they go defense, and I do think they
Mhm.
take Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M here, edge rusher.
Yeah.
Another edge off of our board.
Yep. And then the Buffalo Bills up next, pick 26. I think they go
Mhm.
Denzel Boston and get Josh Allen a weapon here.
I totally see that. And Denzel Boston is actually a pretty good player. He's like a solid weapon that could be utilized and grow.
I don't love the pick.
Mhm.
I love the rationale behind it. I think they have to get Josh Allen a weapon.
Mhm.
You're exactly right.
And then up next, the San Francisco 49ers, Robert Sala's old team here. They could go a lot of different ways here. Their team is so injury prone in every category of everything.
Mhm.
I think that they're in a position they take best player available. I think they take Caden McDonald from OSU here.
Not a bad choice. Ohio State produces some really good prospects.
And then up next, the
I think it's a safe pick, and they want to go for the safe decision.
Yeah.
up next, the Houston Texans. This is an interesting one. Their offense lacked on everything under the sun, it looked like. They did add David Montgomery in this free agency. That's pretty much the only thing they did in free agency.
Mhm.
I could see them going offensive line here, reaching on Blake Miller from Clemson, or I could see them taking Kevin Concepcion from Texas A&M.
Dude, this is kind of a different take. I wouldn't sleep on Omar Cooper, bro. That kid can play.
You think they'd go Cooper instead?
I'm just saying, dude, the amount of game-winning clutch moments that Omar Cooper Jr. had to win, like they did for Indiana, that he did for Indiana this season that led them through the playoffs, dude. I would not sleep on him. I actually would say I would watch for him in this league. I think Omar Cooper could actually be a name that people start talking about. I'm not just saying that because I'm an IU fan, but genuinely, I think he's a good prospect. But
Do you think Omar Cooper, Luke?
Sounds good to me. Boston sold me. Didn't take a lot to sell me, and Boston gave me a little.
Yeah. And then up next, I think this is also where you could see Kevin Concepcion go. The Kansas City Chiefs, once again, see them take the corner earlier in the draft, pick number 9. I think they go receiver here.
yeah, yeah.
And then up next, the Miami Dolphins again. There's a lot of teams with 2 first-round picks, and then we got the Miami
Yeah,
Dolphins.
dude, this
Pick
is an odd first round.
pick 30. Who do we have them taking? We have them taking Mekhi Lemon.
Hmm.
They just picked up Malik Willis. I think if that wasn't the case, I could see this being a spot where Ty Simpson goes here. But I don't know.
I don't think they can take quarterback. I don't know either, but quarterback, I do not think they're going to take.
No.
Maybe a defensive guy. Maybe I could see him going to Keem Mesidor for Miami, taking the other edge.
Mesidor's good. That's a solid pick.
You think that, Luke?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, one of their
Uh,
top needs is a edge rusher.
This one's interesting. The New England Patriots pick 31. I think they'll line here. Pick up Blake Miller from Clemson.
Boy,
Better
do they need a
defense.
line.
Vrabel loves to go tackles. And Vrabel loves to go defensive tackles, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're gonna go with a tackle. Just which side of the ball, I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
This next one's pretty interesting. We got the Seattle Seahawks here, last pick in the first round. This says they need a running back. Could you see the other Notre Dame running back going in, Jadarian Price, here to the Seattle Seahawks after letting what's his name go, Kenneth Walker?
Uh,
I think they go either him or T.J. Parker, edge out of Clemson.
I can see the Seahawks going Ty Simpson.
I
think they're
think it would be
Ooh, that ain't a hot take, honestly.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any conversation on who's going to be their starter,
Mm.
but I think that Sam Darnold is older. I don't know if they
yeah.
necessarily see him playing 10 years for the Seattle Seahawks. I think they could do what the Packers trying to do, get a young guy and try and develop him.
I
The
really think that's a good point.
the only thing about that is, do you think they've gave up on Jalen Milroe that quick?
Yeah.
All right, I take my point back.
No, I think I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, dude, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the draft, and I don't know. I think reaching for Price, the other Notre Dame running back, if that's his name, I can't remember the backup. I think that would be reaching way too far down for what he is. Um,
You
there's a reason why he never played a snap in front of Jeremiah Love. So
know what? Let's get crazy with the last pick. Let's have him taking Ty Simpson. That's
yeah,
just funny
why
having
the heck
the
not?
second quarterback off the board. On the screen now, you can see our full first round mock draft here. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to do more mock drafts in the future, but that will wrap up this mock draft for episode 21. But that is going to wrap up episode 21 of the Titan Talk podcast. We had a little bit of a different episode. We had kind of spent more time over some certain stuff. But yeah, you can catch us back here, episode 22 next week. We're going to be doing more draft coverage. We're getting pretty closer to that. Hopefully we'll have more news to talk about. Otherwise, we will be doing that, the little 17-0 ranking spin thing. We'll be doing that. We'll also be doing a discussion post next week. We'll finally be getting into y'all's comments over that. But be sure to catch us back here next week, and we will catch y'all next time.